Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Let us get started with the headlines. Chota Rajan's deportation delayed due to shutdown at Bali airport. Rajan questioned by Interpol earlier in Jakarta. Congress President Sonia Gandhi leads a march to Rashtrapati Bhavan. Party MPs submit memorandum to President on rising intolerance. Where is the intolerance? Asks Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, accuses protesters of harbouring nefarious designs. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley to inaugurate the World Economic Forum India Summit in Delhi. 300 stakeholders and leaders to deliberate on the theme, delivering growth in the new context. And ASEAN Defence Ministers warn world powers to stick to international laws while welcoming navigation operations in areas including South China Sea. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar represents India at the meet. Well, the big story that we're tracking this hour, Underworld Don Chota Rajan's deportation to India has been delayed by a shutdown at the Bali airport. According to Interpol, he was to be flown to Delhi on a flight later last night. However, a volcanic eruption in the region forced a shutdown. Rajan was earlier questioned by the Interpol in Jakarta. During the interrogation, Rajan alleged that some Mumbai cops have links with Dawood Ibrahim. He also alleged that he had been tortured by the Mumbai police in the past. Rajan is likely to be questioned first by the CBI when he arrives in Delhi. However, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis claims that he will be taken to Mumbai. In a tweet, he said that all necessary arrangements have been made for Rajan to be taken to Mumbai. And Vice President Hamid Ansari will leave for Brunei from Bali today. It would be the first ever visit by any Indian Vice President to Brunei. During his visit to the country, VP will meet Brunei's Sultan and Crown Prince. He will address the Indian community and will deliver a speech at the University of Brunei, Darussalam. India contributes to Brunei's third largest export. It is also an important partner for India in ASEAN and exports crude oil and petroleum products to India. Earlier, Vice President was in Bali on the second leg of his 4-day visit to Indonesia. Ansari visited a museum and met the Bali governor amid typical Indonesian traditional colours. And for more on this, let's go across to my colleague Vaibhav Verma, who's joining us from Bali. Vaibhav, now how would you summarize Vice President's visit to Indonesia? He'll be leaving for Brunei today. Tell us more.
Well, the Indonesia visit has been seen as immensely successful, both in terms of the political and strategic aspects, as well as the cultural aspect, the deep cultural links between India and Indonesia, which the Vice President said need to be tapped further. He had also addressed the India Business Forum, where once again it was cited that the present $20 billion trade between India and Indonesia was far less than potential. It could go up to $100 billion or more. So it has been a very, very successful visit. Today at the Udayana University, where we are headed right now, he'll be addressing students there. Also, a memorandum of understanding on Ayurveda is expected to be signed. And then from there, we head to Brunei, where he'll be meeting the Sultan and the Crown Prince, as well as a few deals will be signed. So, yes, in terms of the bilateral relationship between India and Indonesia, as well as India and Brunei, it's been extremely successful, as well as the India-ASEAN relationship, which is a very, very important relationship with the Act East policy, and with the ASEAN-India summit to be held later this month. So, yeah, it's been positive throughout, Aishwarya.
Vaibhav, also Chota Rajan's deportation from Bali has been delayed. What is the latest that you're getting from there?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Can you repeat that, please?
Vaibhav, now Chota Rajan's deportation from Bali has been delayed. What is the latest that you're getting from there?
What we heard, he was to have been deported last night. Initially, that was the word that was given out. But due to some volcanoes erupting and a huge haze over Indonesia. Many flights going out from here were cancelled. Then there was word that he was to be deported this morning.
Yes.
But it's still not clear when he will actually be moved out. Also, keeping in mind the immense security concerns that arise from this deportation.
All right, Vaibhav. Thank you so much for those details. Let's move on in the bulletin now. Well, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will open the World Economic Forum's India Summit today at the Taj Palace Hotel in Delhi. The event will see participation of nearly 300 stakeholders and leaders, including union ministers. The theme of the meet is delivering growth in the new context. Now, Ministers Venkaiah Naidu, Jayant Sinha and Piyush Goyal will be present at the meet. Chief Ministers of Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, Devendra Fadnavis and Chandrababu Naidu and K. Chandrasekhar Rao respectively, would also be present along with a host of business leaders, including ICICI Bank Chief Chanda Kochar. Now, participants will deliberate on forces of change in India in the context of 5 of WEF's global challenges: agriculture, food security, environment and resource security, employment skills and human capital, long-term investing, infrastructure and urban development and financial inclusion. In other news, a 125-strong delegation of Congress leaders met President Pranab Mukherjee at his residence. They submitted a memorandum to him voicing their concern over the alleged rise in intolerance in the country. The party marched from the Parliament to Rashtrapati Bhavan in a big show of strength.
Congress leaders led by party President Sonia Gandhi and Vice President Rahul Gandhi marching towards Rashtrapati Bhavan. The march was to protest the growing intolerance in the country. Congress leaders accused the Modi government of unleashing a sinister campaign to create social and communal tension.
कुछ खास संगठन और लोग जो या तो सरकार से जुड़े हैं या फिर मोदी जी की सरकार में शामिल है, भारत की बहुरंगी संस्कृति, मूल विचारों और इसके सिद्धांतों पर हमला कर रहे हैं। इंटॉलरेंस को खूब बढ़ावा दिया जा रहा है। कांग्रेस पार्टी ऐसी शक्तियों से पूरी ताकत के साथ मुकाबला करेगी।
People are being lynched and being killed, and the Prime Minister is silent, does not believe that it is necessary for him to say a word. People have given up their prizes, and the Prime Minister and his Finance Minister believe that nothing is going on in the country. They think everything is fine. This is the heart of the problem, is that they believe in an ideology which is simply not tolerant.
This show of strength by the Congress began from Parliament. At the end, Sonia Gandhi handed over a memorandum to President Pranab Mukherjee seeking his intervention in checking incidents that are causing social divide and also thanking him for speaking out against such incidents.
इस ज्ञापन में भय, असहनशीलता और धमकी का माहौल बनाए जाने पर गहरी चिंता व्यक्त की गई है। जो दुखद घटनाएं आजकल हो रही हैं, यह सब एक सोची समझी रणनीति का हिस्सा है, जो हमारे समाज को बांटने के लिए जानबूझकर रची गई है।
Carrying placards that said that the party will fight communalism at every step, Congress leaders also said that no attempt should be made to disrupt the unity of the country.
प्रधानमंत्री जी एक तरफ ऐसे इंटॉलरेंट इश्यूज को वो एनकरेज करते हैं और दूसरे तरफ वो ये कहते हैं कि दूसरे लोग उनके तरफ इंटॉलरेंट है बीजेपी।
इसलिए हमने आजादी लाई इस देश के लिए कि ऐसे माहौल पैदा होगी कि लोग मासूम हमारे पब्लिक की इनके बातों में आके मान गए, बिना सिनेमा डे के टिकट खरीद लिए, बिना ट्रेलर भी देखे और वहां इसको पार्लियामेंट में बिठा दिए और ये चलेगा देश में और हम चुप रहे, ये तो होगा नहीं।
The march comes in the backdrop of protests by artists, writers and scientists over what they say is rising intolerance. The recent incidents in Dadri, the Kerala House beef row and the murder of 2 Dalit children in Haryana have been cited in these protests. With inputs from Pranab Goswami and Muhammad Fateh Tipu, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And as before Congress took out the march, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley questioned the rationale behind the party's claims. He accused Congress of raking up the issue to gain political mileage. Now, claiming peace across the country, Jaitley said that India does not have a history of intolerance.
Cornered by the raging debate on intolerance, the centre is in a counter-offensive mood. On Tuesday, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley dismissed reports of rising incidents of intolerance and took on the opposition for trying to politicize the issue.
कि देश में पूर्ण शांति है, सद्भाव की भावना, सद्भाव का माहौल है, और इस देश ये कभी देश इंटॉलरेंट रहा नहीं है और कभी रहेगा नहीं, और इसलिए राजनीतिक कारणों से इस विषय को उठाने का कोई लाभ नहीं है.
Incidents like Professor M.M. Kalburgi's murder, Dadri lynching or burning of Dalit children in Haryana saw eminent authors, filmmakers and scientists return coveted awards in protest. Jaitley had earlier termed it a manufactured rebellion. On Tuesday, he reiterated his stand.
ये कोई नहीं कहने को तैयार कि इस देश में इंटॉलरेंस होनी चाहिए और नहीं होनी चाहिए. तो अगर कोई व्यक्ति कहता है कि इंटॉलरेंस नहीं होनी चाहिए तो उसमें गलत बात क्या है?
On Monday, noted historian Shekhar Pathak also decided to return his Padma Shri award, joining a long list of protesters. However, National Award winner filmmaker Kamal Hassan questioned the manner of the protest.
साहित्य अकेडमी ने एक औपचारिक कंडेमनेशन तक नहीं किया कि साहब हम इसको धिक्कारते हैं, हम इसकी भर्त्सना करते हैं. उसके खिलाफ हमारे साहित्यकारों ने अपने आमंत्रण लौटाए, अपने सम्मान लौटाए. तो ये उन लोगों को समर्थन देने की कोशिश है छोटी सी.
We'll hope that they are not too angry. It is on their part also necessary to be a little more tolerant in these things. So tolerance is give and take. I am not criticizing any party, but this is nothing new to India. It will surmount this also, again, as it had done before.
On Monday, the raging political standoff over the issue turned uglier. The BJP and the Congress were locked in a war of words over each other's responsibilities during the 1984 and 2002 riots. With inputs from Kriti Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And time now for our special segment, Verdict 2015. Well, the Election Commission deadline to BJP President Amit Shah, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi and RJD Chief Lalu Yadav over their remarks during the Bihar elections ends at 3 p.m. today. The Election Commission had served notices to the three for violating the Model Code of Conduct in Bihar and had sought their explanations. Now, Amit Shah has been asked to explain his firecracker remark. An explanation has been sought from Rahul Gandhi over his BJP's Plan B comment, and Lalu has been asked to explain his cannibal remark directed against Amit Shah. And now shifting focus to the ASEAN Defence Ministers meeting, while welcoming their navigation operations in areas including the South China Sea. ASEAN defence ministers warned world powers to stick to international laws. Well, at the third ASEAN defence meet in Malaysia, the member nations also called for ways to promote regional peace and stability. The meet comes a week after a US warship challenged territorial limits around one of Beijing's man-made islands in the South China Sea. Heightened tensions in the South China Sea tops the agenda of Defence Ministers' meet from ASEAN that started in Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday. Malaysian Defence Minister Hishamuddin Hussein called on his counterparts from Southeast Asia to stay united over rising South China Sea tensions. Tensions run high after a US warship sailed close to one of China's man-made islands last Tuesday. However, the Chinese officials have said that the meet was not an appropriate platform for the matter.
Our biggest concern is unintended, accidental, unintentional incidents in the high seas. That we must avoid, and confidence building, like having the direct communication signed today. And I apologize on behalf of everybody not inviting the press, because you will appreciate the sensitivity of what we concluded in not wanting to disclose who our vendor is.
The three-day event that brings together the 10 defense ministers from ASEAN, along with ministers from countries such as US, Japan, China and Australia, will also see discussions on various regional security issues, including the rise of Islamic State militant group.
Our paramount concern is the security, stability and peace in our region, and how we engage major powers as a bloc is very important. Individually, we may not have much impact, but I personally believe, as chair of ADMM, together, 10 nations, engaging the major powers, we could make a difference.
A hotline has been set up for ASEAN defense ministers to promote rapid response cooperation in times of emergency. The third ASEAN defense ministers meeting this year comes ahead of the 27th ASEAN summit later this month. Meanwhile, Manohar Parrikar met US Defense Secretary Ashton Carter on the sidelines of the meet and discussed ways to strengthen Indo-US defense ties. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now a look at some of the stories likely to unfold during the course of the day in Day Ahead. Chinese Vice President Liu Yuanchao arrived in Aurangabad on Tuesday on a 5-day visit to India. After visiting Ajanta Caves, he went to Kolkata. He will come to Delhi on Friday and will hold talks with his counterpart Mohammad Hamid Ansari and other Indian leaders. Liu's visit is aimed at strengthening strategic partnership of cooperation between the two countries. The arguments on framing charges in the coal scam case will continue today as well. The hearing will continue against industrialist Naveen Jindal, former Jharkhand Chief Minister Madhu Kora, former Minister of State for Coal, ex-coal secretary and 11 others. All these were charge sheeted by the CBI in a case pertaining to alleged irregularities in the allocation of a coal block in Jharkhand to JIP, SPL and GSIPL. Several farmers in Punjab are set to resume their agitation in the state in support of their demands, including compensation for crop damage. Rallies and dharnas would be staged in front of district administrative complexes in Amritsar and Moga today. Farmers are demanding 40,000 rupees per acre compensation for damage caused to cotton crop due to the white fly pest attack in the state. And Breakfast News, time to take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us.
The poll juggernaut rolls out in Bihar. Modi's NDA takes on Nitish's Grand Alliance. Who will win this most important election battle since 2014? Watch Verdict 2015, Monday through Saturday on Rajya Sabha television.
The Rajya Sabha Secretary General Shamsher Sharif has stressed on better coordination with ministries to strengthen the parliamentary process. He was addressing a one-day workshop on the issue that was attended by officials of almost all ministries.
Rajya Sabha Secretary General Shamsher Sharif underscored the need for better coordination between the various ministries and the Parliament Secretariat. He also expressed concern over the inadequate communication between them.
There is no sharing, no communication, which causes frequent breakdowns, sometimes misunderstandings, and also sometimes it becomes misleading also. So to clear those doubts and to ensure that in future we can at least try and minimize the faults, we thought the best is that we will take it up in one of the most delicate areas, which is that of questions.
Answers to Parliament questions are the best way to understand the working of any ministry. The workshop discussed difficulties in getting this information.
All ministries' departments should ensure that in the event of a dispute or difference of opinion regarding handling a parliamentary matter, the matter should be taken up at the level of secretary for resolving differences, if any, through discussion.
Also stressed was the need to improve coordination between various departments.
You can say proposals are approved by the cabinet, and after completion of the drafting process and all those things, those proposals are forwarded by the Administrative Ministry to the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs for inclusion in the tentative list of business, at least 30 days in advance, which is usually not done by ministries. They should try to do this.
The one-day workshop comes ahead of the winter session that is slated to start later this month. With Navikram Singh, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's talk about health. Well, with an aim to reduce infant, neonatal and maternal mortality in India, Ministry of Women and Child Development, Health Ministry along with corporate bodies have announced a major healthcare initiative called Asman. Now this initiative will facilitate quality healthcare under the 5 pillars: reproductive, maternal, newborn, child health and adolescent health programs. In order to reduce infant, neonatal and maternal mortality rates, the government has launched a new project, Asman. It will be undertaken through a major alliance by leading corporate and development partners. This project will bring together expertise of each partner to create customized solutions for addressing state-specific requirements to fight the burden of maternal and newborn mortality in the country.
I'm sure the partnership that we will have have a strong effect on maternal and neonatal mortality. We have the institutional mechanisms, the government has, and you have the dream, the vision and the efficiency, hopefully, to help utilize our Ashas and Anganwadis better.
India is the world's second most populated country and registers over 30 million pregnancies every year. Of this, 27 million women reach the stage of delivery and over 56,000 mothers die within 48 hours of delivery. 50% of neonatal deaths also happen in the first 48 hours. Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh are states most acutely affected by maternal mortality rate, neonatal mortality rate and infant mortality rate.
Partnerships that we share with over 450 non-government organizations, all of this that we want to bring to the Asman project. I would not hesitate to say that the Tata Trust will fully support this program, and hopefully before the end of 3 years we would have specific pilot projects that have demonstrated results that are entirely satisfactory.
Asman aims to create a model for bringing private players together to provide health for all and contribute to sustainable development goals in their respective adopted areas. The initiative is an alliance between the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, MSD India, Reliance Foundation, Tata Trust and the United States Agency for International Development. This is Anshu J. Singh's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
We're on to international news now, and the crisis at Volkswagen has deepened after the car maker found irregularities in the carbon dioxide levels emitted by 8 lakh of its cars. An internal investigation into the diesel emissions scandal has discovered that carbon dioxide and fuel consumption were also set too low during the certification process. The dramatic admission raises the prospect that Volkswagen not only cheated on diesel emissions but also carbon dioxide and fuel consumption. Volkswagen said that it will now work with the authorities to clarify what took place during the carbon dioxide test and ensure the correct CO2 classification for the vehicles affected. The company is already reeling from the fallout of cheating on US emission tests for nitrogen oxide. After the latest revelation now, CEO Matthias Müller has promised that Volkswagen will clarify what has happened. The news is the latest in a string of problems identified with Volkswagen emissions, which have caused its share prices to plummet. Martin Winterkorn had stepped down as the CEO of the company after the discovery of the nitrogen oxide defeat devices. And more international news now in World Wrap. Taiwan's President Ma Ying-jeou will meet his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in Singapore on Saturday in the first ever meeting between the leaders of the two nations. The talks between the two leaders will focus on relations across the Taiwan Straits. China has claimed sovereignty over Taiwan since 1949 after the nationalist government fled after being defeated by the communists. A rare tropical cyclone hit Yemen on Tuesday, triggering heavy floods and causing thousands of people to flee for shelter. Officials say the storm is the most intense in decades. The war-racked country is already facing a deep humanitarian crisis with a severe lack of food and medicine caused by the conflict. Israel has passed an amendment to the country's civil law establishing a minimum prison sentence of 3 years for people who throw rocks at Israeli troops, civilians or vehicles. The move comes in the backdrop of a widespread unrest as an increase in Palestinian protests against Israel has given way to frequent clashes. 73 Palestinians have been killed by Iraqi forces since October. Thousands of people protested across Romania's capital, Bucharest, demanding the cabinet resignations over the deaths from a nightclub fire. The death toll rose to 32, with dozens more in the hospital in critical condition. Protesters were angry about the way authorities grant permits and inspect public venues. A fire, remember, had broken out in a club on 30th of October there, triggering a stampede towards the single exit. Let's get you all the sporting action now in Sports Beat. Indian spinner R. Ashwin will be fit to play in the opening test against South Africa. Indian team director Ravi Shastri said that the off-spinner is absolutely fine. R. Ashwin suffered a side strain during the first ODI in Kanpur, which kept him out for the last 4 games against the visitors. Former Pakistan captain Shoaib Malik has announced his decision to retire from Test. Malik will hang boots after playing the ongoing last test against England in Sharjah. Malik has scored 1,898 runs with an average of 35.14 in 35 test appearances. However, he said that he will continue to play in the ODIs, focusing on the 2019 World Cup. Shiva Thapa became the highest-ranked Indian boxer after moving up to second spot in the latest international rankings. Shiva was placed second in the 56 kg category, 5 places up from the previous list. The 22-year-old had won a bronze medal at last month's World Championships in Doha. Top spot was occupied by Irishman Michael Holland. Manchester City secured a place in the Champions League last 16 after beating Sevilla 3-1. Raheem Sterling, Fernandinho, Wilfred Bony scored for the City as they progressed to the next stage with 2 games to spare. In another match, Wayne Rooney's late header ensured a victory for Manchester United over CSKA Moscow. World number 1 Novak Djokovic beat Brazilian Thomas Bellucci to advance to the second round of the Paris Masters. Djokovic, who already has 3 Paris Master titles to his name, won 7-5, 6-3. Stan Wawrinka also started his campaign with a 6-3, 7-6 win over Australian Bernard Tomic. Time now to wrap up this edition of news. Thanks so much for your time.